Hey everybody, my name is Daisha and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my goals for 2021. So trust me, I know the hair and the shirt do not go, but I really like this shirt and I haven't worn it in a video in a long time. So, you know, we're just gonna go with it. We're just gonna go with it.
Oh baby, nah, that ain't gonna work.
You know what? You only live once. So I'm super excited for this year and I'm going to be going over my bookish reading goals and also channel goals. I have about 15 here. I might mention some other ones if I come up with them during this video, but I'm just going to go over them and I'm super excited to discuss these with you guys. So the first one that I have is to read 75 books in 2021, which I feel like is reasonable, but there's a lot of unknowns and things happening in 2021. 2020 itself was unknown. We thought we knew it was going to happen and it said, haha, no. So I don't know what 2021 is going to bring. All I know is that I'm staying home for the full second semesters. And normally if I physically go to school, I barely read. This could be shown by the first 3 months, January, February, March of 2020. January, I read 3 books and 2 of them were for school. February, I read 0 books, and March, I read 0 books. And so I just started to get back into reading when I started to stay home from school again. And I am capable of reading because I read 17 books in September, which was my first full month back at school online. And I feel like September is going to be kind of similar to the rest of the year. You were wrong. Just because I'm starting a new semester and I'm hoping that it's going to be a lighter workload. Almost all of my college applications will be done for most of the semester. I will have AP exams and things like that around in May, but I never study for that. And then also I'm going to start college. So I'm starting college in August. I don't know where I'm going, so don't ask, but all I know is that I'm going to start, so I don't know what it's going to be like, if I'm going to be on campus, off campus, what's going to be happening with COVID, if I'm going to be doing it online, physically going to classes. I don't really know. Hopefully I'll be able to read 75 books, but I've read around 110 by the end of the year. I should have read 110 books at least. Normally I read like 50-ish books, but I wanted to challenge myself this year and do 75, even with a lot of the unknowns. I feel like this year, especially with my channel, ever since I started my channel, I've been prioritizing reading a lot more over like YouTube specifically. Sorry if you guys post videos and I don't comment or watch them. It's just because I'm not really on YouTube watching booktube as much because my booktube watching time is now for reading for my channel, or I'm editing for my channel. I think my second goal is also going to help with this a lot more, and it's that I want to read more romances and thrillers. I feel like I did pretty good with reading romances this year, but I just want to diversify the romance that I'm reading. Now that I know a bit more about the genre in general, and I follow a lot of more romance specific booktubers, I feel like I just have a better grasp and I want to just explore the genre more, and I also want to do that with thrillers. Thrillers I did not read that much this year. I read more horror than thrillers, which is weird just because I like thrillers significantly more than horror.
Bitch disgusting.
That was nasty. That was nasty. And I really just want to focus on reading more thrillers this year as well because it is a genre that I really like. There's so many and so many different kinds that it's just a little bit hard, but I definitely want to explore the genre more. And I never want to say that romance and thrillers are like an easy genre to read or that they aren't as mentally challenging. They're just faster for me to get through and they tend to be shorter than fantasies overall. That's why I feel like this will help me with my goal of reading 75 books or more in 2021, just because I want to explore these genres that are quicker for me to read in general. The next one is to read more authors just in general, like, and not just read one book from the author. Like, I want to read at least like 2 or 3 books from some new authors this year. That's why I want to start my new series like Author Tribe, where I read books from specific authors just for one video and I read like 3 or 4 of them. So I'm really excited for that series because I feel like that'll help me complete this goal as well. I feel like there's just a lot of different authors that I've heard about so much that I haven't read that I really just want to try out, and I'm really excited for this goal and the new Author Try series that I'm going to be starting hopefully this year. Imagine me not even starting it.
Again? We're doing this again.
Number 4 also relates to authors, and it's that I want to read more backlists of my favorite authors. This one's specifically aimed at Jennifer L. Armentrout because she has so many books, and I've read like I think 2 or 3 of the books in the Lux series. I read the first book in the White Hot Kiss series, and then I read the first 2 in the Blood and Ash series, which is what's out so far, but she has so many other books, and I would like to complete those 2 series that I've already started, the Lux series and the I think it's actually the Dark Element series. the one that starts with a white hot kiss. But I also have Half-Blood by her, which I know is like an angel one. And there's some other authors that I've tried that I want to read more of their backlist of. Number 5 is to actually read the arcs that I request. This is an issue that I have.
So we need to get on that, okay?
I feel like it's just because I request things that sound interesting, but then I'm like, I have all these physical books that I want to read that I'm more interested in, so I want to be more particular about the books that I request.
Remember one time I liked you? No. Good, because never happened. Aha.
And I want them to be things that I'm excited about, so I'll actually read them. Number 6 is to finish some series. I just have some series that either not necessarily finish, but I also need to continue in them, like the Ember and the Ashes series I want to finish, but that one's kind of guaranteed just because of the Ember along. I also want to finish the Illuminate series because I only have Obsidio left, and I love the first 2 books. I also really want to finish like Throne of Glass, just because
I just do.
okay, I want to read Sarah. Number 7 is one that I really want to work on just because I feel like it's something that I need to do, and that is I want to read more POC authors. Obviously, I feel like that's something that everybody needs to work on, and this year I think about 1/3 of the authors that I read are people of color and authors of color. And I feel like that is a decent amount, but I would really like to raise that to about 40%. I'm not trying to make it 50-50 just because the publishing industry is so skewed towards white authors. 95% of books on the market since 1950 are by white authors. And that's definitely something that's improving, and I do want to read POC authors and make that something that I'm actively thinking about when choosing books, just so I can support those authors and so more of them get published in the publishing industry. But as an individual, there's only so much I can do, and I don't want to limit myself in my reading. I just want to be more conscious of who I am reading and the authors that I'm consuming. This next one is that I want to stay away from contemporary specifically. I realize that contemporary is not my genre. I just don't really like it, and I'm really tired of like the YA contemporary books that talk about issues but are kind of lighthearted. Like Felix Ever After I think is a great book, but I read like 3 of those kind of back to back, like Felix Ever After, The Henna Wars, and You Should See Me in a Crown, and I think they're all important books. But even just thinking about reading contemporary like that again, just, I don't want to say it makes me nauseous.
Girl, take it easy.
Because I really did like all of those books. Just like the YA contemporary is just not my thing anymore, and if I'm going to read contemporary, I want it to be a bit darker in tone. In general, something like Beartown by Frederick Bachman, I haven't read that yet, but that one seems like it's going to be kind of up my alley a bit more. And even like with contemporary romance, I don't really like the lighthearted ones. Even if they deal with important topics and representation, I feel like you can definitely feel when something is lighthearted versus darker. And so if I'm going to read a contemporary romance, I do prefer darker contemporary romances that are just, you know, dark romances. And so I do just want to, if I'm going to read contemporary, I want it to be more dark in tone in general, and just stray away from like the lighthearted books and more, because they're just not really my thing, and they're never really on my favorites lists ever. My next one is a reading challenge, and that is the Buzzword Challenge hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala. So she used to do the Buzzword read along, and so she's kind of made it where there's a buzzword or a buzz theme kind of every single month, so you can participate for a whole week, read one book for that theme every month. And so what I decided to do is I'm going to say I need to complete 8 of the buzzwords, because like even for January I'm like, the only book that I have with Dream in it is The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater, and
To be honest, I don't want to read that.
This is why Mom doesn't fucking love you.
maybe I actually will surprise everybody and I will read it. You know, I'm just gonna say I want to read 8 of them. That's what, 2/3 of the time. So there is a graphic and everything, and I will link her video down below, even though you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Everybody knows Books and Lala. And I think they're going to push me out my comfort zone and make me read books that I wouldn't otherwise, but some of them, like, I want to give myself room to be like. So these next couple ones are going to be less about reading and more about my channel and my brand in general.
I hate saying that, my brand.
But so the first one is I just want to write at least 1 sentence for every single book that I read. And I feel like that's not going to be hard. It's just something that I don't do, and maybe eventually I'll work up to writing a review for every single book. I know that Bree from In Love and Words, that's one of her goals this year, and I don't think I could write a full review for every book at this point. So then this year I'll be like, write a sentence for every book, but then in 2022 maybe I'll be like, write a full review for every single book. And this kind of also goes along with it, and it's just organizing my reading and my tracking a bit better because I'm going to be using 3 different things to track my reading this year, which is a lot. Obviously, I'm going to be using Goodreads. I really do want to stray away from Goodreads, but so many people use it, and I want to be able to keep up with other people and things like that. Like, I don't want to just delete my Goodreads account, so I'm going to keep it for this year. I probably won't have it in 2022, to be honest, because of Storygraph. I'm really excited for Storygraph because you could do literally quarter stars, you could do literally so many different things on Storygraph. It's so exciting. Creates graphs for you. You can do quarter stars. It's easier to navigate, and I just like it in general. It took a little bit of getting used to, but now that I'm used to it, it's a lot better. And they have a section that shows you how to transfer everything from Goodreads over to Storygraph by downloading it into like a spreadsheet file, and then you upload it to Storygraph and it just downloads it into Storygraph and puts everything there for you. So I just moved over my Goodreads and it was so much easier, and I just really like Storygraph. And then also I'm going to be using my reading spreadsheet. I've used this since 2019, so this will be my 3rd year doing it, and I modify it every single year, so I'm not finished with it yet, but a lot of people were asking me for it and they were liking how I was doing it, so I should be finished with this as this goes up. So I will have a template link down below if you guys want to look at my spreadsheet, and hopefully you guys haven't read too many books yet, and if you want to use it you can still just move the books over that you've been tracking or whatever. My spreadsheets are kind of intense, so you can modify them in whichever way that you want to make it so it's good for you. And I've taken kind of methods from Kat Chats specifically, and then also she takes her methods from Allie from Hardback Hoarder, so we both kind of take from her, and then I took some from Kat, so it's kind of a mixture. And then I now I'm hitting myself in the chin, and then I kind of modified it for my own uses and purposes. So yeah, I'm definitely going to want to be making sure I'm tracking everything, staying on top of it, especially because I feel like in the past couple months I've been kind of like waiting a day or two to like fill in my spreadsheet and everything like that, and then I was kind of forgetting dates, and even updating Goodreads I was like waiting a day or two just because I don't know, I guess I was lazy. So I definitely want to try and stay on top of that more in 2021. My next goal is to try and upload at least 4 times a month.
I'm a clown.
And as I said, there's a lot of unknowns happening this year, so I don't know how much I'm going to be able to post. But I decided to do 4 times a month because that's like about once every week. But if I miss a week, I don't want to beat myself up about it. So then this gives me room that I can double up the next week. You know, things like that, where I can even post like 3 times in one week. I know it might not be the most consistent thing, but you know what? I know my life isn't going to be consistent. Everything is changing this year, and it's going to be a very big year for me. So I just wanted to give myself some room, even if it means that I'm not going to be the most consistent in my posting. So this next one is going to be one that is going to be a struggle for me, and that is I want to attempt wrap-ups every month. Whether I find that I want to do recent reads, if I want to do mid-month wrap-ups and then do a full wrap-up at the end, whatever I figure out where I want to do some sort of wrapping up of the books that I read in a certain time. I'm thinking right now that if by the middle of the month I've only read like 5 or 6 books, I will just do a wrap up at the end. But if by the middle I'm at like 10 books, then I'll do a mid-month wrap up and then do a full wrap up at the end. And I'm hoping to do a lot more reading vlogs this year. That's one of my other goals that you'll see, is I want to do more reading vlogs this year. And so hopefully I'll be like, okay, here, I gave this book 5 stars, I really enjoyed it, whatever. If you want to know more about it, go check out this vlog that I posted that I read these books in. So I'm hoping to do more of that, which will really help with wrap ups. They're just so long because I talk so much, and this year I've been reading a lot of books usually in months. Like, I read 17 plus books, and I don't want to talk about 17 plus books. I honestly don't. I really don't want to edit that. Like, I film it fine, but editing it is a hassle. The footage is normally like 45 minutes to an hour plus. So it's like too long for me. So the next one is, as I said, to do more reading vlogs, and I just want to improve them in general. I feel like they're just not as aesthetic as I want them to be, and I know a lot of people don't care about that, but I want them to look nice, look pretty. It's just hard because the lighting in my house is so crusty. Okay, it's bad. It is very crusty lighting, and then also I look crusty at night, and the lighting in my room isn't as good, and I normally want to film updates at night because I normally finish things at night. So I just want to try and improve the quality of them in general and do more of them. And this last one is I want to do more book recommendations. I feel like especially this last year, I felt kind of invalidated in doing book recommendations because a lot of the books that I've read are really popular books, and you know, there's nothing wrong with recommending popular books, but I get kind of tired of being recommended the same books over and over and over and over and over again. And then when they're in somebody's TBR and wrap up too, it just kind of gets really repetitive if they're on everybody's channel, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to include at least some not as popular talked about books on my channel, and so last year I really tried to focus on reading some of those as well, so then that way I can bring them into like the rotation for recommendations. And this year that's something that I also want to focus on, is reading books that aren't necessarily as popular, so I have almost like hidden gems to recommend to you guys in recommendations. So those were all the goals that I have for 2021 reading and channel wise, which is a lot, and a lot of them are very vague, not like a specific number, just because like I don't even think did I do one recommendation in 2020? So if I do 2, I'm improving. So I don't want to say do 5 and then if I do 4 then I'm gonna be sad because I didn't hit the goal. I just want it to be more loose, and so I can choose to say, oh yeah, you completed it, you did it. And as I said, there's a lot of unknowns happening this year, and I don't really know what my time is gonna look like at some of the months. So I just wanted to give myself some leeway, but also have reasonable goals that I can hit that will help me improve my reading in my channel. But yeah, that's all that I have for this video today. Tell me down below if you guys also have any goals, and if you have a video of it, please link me to it. I would love to watch about your guys' goals. But that's all I have, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!
You always posting up pictures, trying to look like you winning. I'm writing rhymes in the kitchen, soaking in moments we live in, yeah. You got the nerve to be on me, faking your life for the IG. If you got my number, don't add me, cause baby,